Hi, I'm Pamela Elgin with Surf Girl Eats. Today we're going to be making a farmer's market breakfast hash. You can make this recipe with really whatever vegetables you have on hand. So today I'm going to be using sweet potatoes, bell peppers, onions, and some broccoli as well, but really whatever you have on hand is just fine. So I'm gonna get started by cutting my potatoes. We're gonna do about a 1-inch dice, but really you can be flexible, it doesn't matter. If some of the pieces are larger, that's fine. I'm leaving the peel on the potatoes because there's a lot of nutrition and fiber in that peel. So we're just gonna keep that. We're just gonna slide this potato onto the sheet pan here and proceed with our next vegetables. I'm gonna use a couple sweet potatoes today because they're pretty small, so we'll cut them lengthwise. We're also going to be using an onion. I'm using yellow onion today, but you can use red if that's what you have. You just want to cut off the stem end. I'm going to save this to make some vegetable stock with later, so I'll pop that into my freezer and store it for as long as it takes, actually, until I collect all the vegetables that I want to use. I'm going to be doing some half rings here because I like the larger chunks of onion in my hash. We'll save this as well. Put this onto the sheet pan. Now we'll move on to the bell peppers. So I'm using red and then also this green one that we pulled from the kids' school garden. It's really fun to be working in the garden over the summer because you get all kinds of fresh things that you have to use up. So we're gonna be doing long spears with the peppers. Again, we're saving the flesh, the membranes here, and the top to use for stock. The great thing about using fresh vegetables from your garden is that they come in all shapes and sizes, and you end up with all kinds of little marks from maybe some little critters that had a sampling of your pepper before you got into it. But it's all good, just cut those away. All right, and then I think I'm gonna skip the broccoli today, and we're just gonna go with these fresh herbs. I'm using rosemary because I have that growing in my garden. And we can cook with rosemary because it's a really sturdy herb, whereas with basil or cilantro, we would want to add that at the end. So I'm just going to roughly chop that here, and then we'll add that to our hash. This is shaping up to be really tasty. Okay, and I think I'm also going to throw in some parsley. We'll put the stems again into our vegetable stock for down the road. Okay, I have about 2 to 3 tablespoons of oil. You can use whatever kind of oil you like, coconut oil, canola, or olive oil. Just gonna drizzle that over the vegetables here. Isn't that nice? And then give it a nice toss with our hands. I'm using parchment paper to line my sheet pan because I don't really like cooking with nonstick, and this just prevents the vegetables from sticking to the pan. You really want to spread the hash out, the vegetables out as far as you can onto the pan. This is going to help them not to steam. It's going to help them to caramelize on the bottom. Give us all of that nice flavor that we're looking for. So we've got it pretty much spread out. I'm going to season it with about half a teaspoon of salt here. And then we're going to go pop it into the oven. All right, so now we're going to move on to our eggs. I've preheated this pan. You want to do that for at least a minute until it's good and hot. That way the eggs don't stick. We're going to put about a tablespoon of oil in here. And we want to give the oil a chance to heat up here as well, maybe about 15 seconds. I'm just doing 2 eggs today. gonna crack those, put them into the preheated pan, and you want it to sizzle right away. That tells us that we got our pan properly preheated. We're going to season them with just a little bit of salt here and turn the heat down to about medium high. We want to cook them until they're a little bit brown around the edges and the whites are mostly set and the yolks are still runny. That's how I like my eggs, just because the yolk functions kind of like a sauce spreading out over the hash. It's really, really good. I'm gonna season them with pepper right now too. So our eggs look like they're done. The whites are set, the yolks are still a little bit runny, and they're going to lift really easily from the pan. So we're gonna take them to where we're going to serve over at the counter and then get the hash out of the oven. Wonderful. Well, our farmer's market breakfast hash is all done. The vegetables have roasted in the oven for 45 minutes at 375 and they look fantastic. So we're just gonna serve up a few of these guys here. And I'm feeling pretty hungry today, so we do a few more. And then I'm gonna top it with just one egg. Here we go. Doesn't that look fantastic? Also, I'm gonna add a little sriracha here because it just makes everything better. Now we're gonna give it a taste. Look at that. Yum. That is phenomenal. I know you're gonna love it. So, you need to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Surf Girl Eats, and also check out the recipe on my blog, surfgirleats.com. Thanks so much for joining us today.